I remember really clearly arriving in Banda Aceh after the tsunami and meeting the people who'd lived through this absolute devastation. These people who were so kind and so welcoming, as if I was their guest. So that was when I first really realized the personality or the character of Indonesians.
I was sent to a small town called Crete in Nebraska. We lived with an American family with other Fulbright grantees from all over the world. We were kind of fascinated with Hollywood movies, big cities, high-rise buildings, fast cars, and so on. But the other side of the coin is this social capital, the foundation of American democracy and American economic power.
Ketika saya ke Amerika, saya sebagai seorang wartawan waktu itu ingin belajar ya, bagaimana sebuah media itu bisa bekerja dengan baik. Nah, di program Fulbright saya bisa mengambil practical training. Dan itu saya manfaatkan, saya bekerja di Voice of America. Bagi saya itu melengkapi ya, untuk menjadi seorang yang tahu berkomunikasi dengan berbagai medium.
I can safely say that my life will not be like this if I didn't go to the US. It was also another experience of growing myself into someone more mature, ready for leadership, gives me confidence to deal with really very different people.
One of the most memorable things for me was arriving in Biak and starting to talk to people who kind of like pretty rural people. They were living what looked like pretty simple lifestyles, and they were so incredibly alert to what was happening in the rest of the world and global history. You know, I was just blown away.
My most memorable Fulbright experience was certainly the 2 years that I got to be in Banda Aceh. I was training a new generation, a young generation of Indonesian scholars. That's a valuable thing to do in its own right. But I also had an opportunity to observe for those 2 years what was happening in Indonesian politics.
Studying in the US has been my dream, and I thought it was going to be difficult for me to get it. So the fact that I got Fulbright to study MBA was an acknowledgement that my dream can come true.
Saya datang ke sana sebagai seorang artist and resident. Jadi bukan belajar, saya justru malah disuruh mengajar. Ikut produksi teater, membuat pertunjukan teater, mengajar bahasa Indonesia, ikut aktivitas sebagai seorang sutradara.
Saat itu, di bidang sequential art atau komik itu memang belum ada. Jadi beasiswa Fulbright benar-benar membuka pintu karir saya di industri komik, game, di ilustrasi, di toys, dan juga di film gitu.
You know, before I came here, I was a professor of American media history, and I had never studied Indonesia. So it was an amazing experience, and I fell in love with Indonesia and, you know, realized there's so much that I, as a historian of journalism, could write about here in Indonesia.
During my time in the US, I actually grew up from someone who is very, very shy and very nervous, and to the point that in my second year, I was actually performing improv comedy in the auditorium in front of 100 people. So that was a very big leap for me.
Saya merupakan seorang penerima Fulbright dari Tanah Papua. Jadi apa yang saya dapatkan ketika mengikuti program Fulbright Report merupakan sesuatu yang sangat baik yang kemudian bisa saya terapkan juga. Paling tidak saya bisa berkontribusi bagi pengembangan pendidikan di Tanah Papua.
I'm in a unique position that I can see the broader picture. I have the enormous pleasure of seeing Fulbrighters from Indonesia go abroad and come back and make extraordinary contributions to Indonesia in their fields. And obviously the networks that are created are extremely powerful and far-reaching.
My Fulbright experience was absolutely foundational to everything that I became as an academic. I am an Indonesianist. I've done work both for the private sector and the State Department, as well as for the Indonesian government itself, the Ministry of Religious Affairs.
Menjadi bagian dari keluarga besar Fulbright itu adalah sebuah anugerah yang sangat saya syukuri ya. Karena ternyata alumni Fulbright ini dia ada di berbagai bidang dan mereka dalam posisi yang influential di setiap karya mereka, di setiap posisi mereka.
Many Fulbright alumni became policymakers, leaders. If they are working in creative industry, they become most prominent personalities in the field.
It's really had a huge impact, those 3 Fulbright experiences, on my career and my interests, making me a better teacher and also making me a better researcher.
I ended up writing a book on the basis of my dissertation, Raiding the Land of the Foreigners, and then went on to write 2 more books. This experience has been incredibly important for me in my career as an anthropologist.
Through connections made with former Fulbrighters, I've been invited to speak in a lot of different cities, including way back when I was invited to Surabaya, and there I met the editor of Surya newspaper, and he invited me to write a column, a weekly email dari America. He said, we will put it on the front page of the Sunday paper. That was indirectly a result of the Fulbright, because without that experience, without the connections, I wouldn't have kept coming back here, and I come back every year.
Fulbright ini memberikan kesempatan untuk masuk ke international academic community. Akademisi yang berjejaring, saling bertukar pikiran, tidak hanya sekedar terdorong untuk melakukan kajian-kajian, tetapi juga melakukan aksi.
So one of the things that is great about having done a Fulbright is the network that you have of other Fulbrighters and learning about all sorts of different areas of research that they're involved in.
If I don't meet another Fulbright alumni and setting up Project Multatuli, I think it will be very different. Project Multatuli is a public service journalism initiative owned and managed by workers, and we serve the underreported. We hold power accountable.
Saya mendirikan Caravan Studio, juga Reon Comics, yang bertujuan untuk memberikan kesempatan kepada ilustrator dan komikus Indonesia untuk bisa berkarir di luar negeri.
Saat ini saya berjayakan sebagai Wakil Rektor 1 pada Universitas Internasional pertama di Tanah Papua. Universitas ini merupakan universitas yang dimana saya dan beberapa kolega orang Papua kami dirikan.
Saya berkenalan dengan seorang Fulbrighter ya. Kami membuat yayasan namanya Yayasan Nurani Dunia. Kita butuh satu kampung untuk mendidik anak. Nah, kampung ilmu tidak hanya sekedar membangun sekolah, tetapi membuat komunitas yang mengintegrasikan antara pendidikan formal dengan non-formal. Menjadi akademisi harus punya dampak langsung terhadap masyarakat di sekitarnya.
I hope that we'll be doing an even better job in reaching out and recruiting people and letting people know that although this is a very prestigious grant that they're applying for, and only a small number can actually get the grant, that they too can have a chance, whether they come from Eastern Indonesia or some of the other islands off of Java, or if they belong to some sort of community that is somewhat disadvantaged, either economically or for whatever social reasons, they too are welcome to become a Fulbrighter.
AMINEF perlu menyampaikan kabar bahwa Fulbright adalah buat semua orang.
Because education is for all. The problem would only be the numbers of students that you could give, scholarship. If they could increase the numbers, that would be, I think, it also increase diversity.
I think the Fulbright program is the single most important institution program in the United States for building ties among people who care about and know Indonesia. I really think the key to Fulbright's future and to the future of United States and Indonesian relations is making it really peer-to-peer, equal interaction, a kind of partnership in mutual understanding. That's what I think Fulbright is doing and doing well.
Dia itu menembus tidak hanya level intelektual kita, tapi level emosi psikologis kita. Jadi mind and heart ya.
Misi Fulbright ini sudah masuk ke dalam diri saya. Saya merasa bahwa saya telah berhasil mengenalkan sudut lain dari Indonesia kepada mereka. Kami jadi keluarga. Tidak ada Amerika lagi, tidak ada Indonesia lagi, yang ada adalah sahabat, keluarga. Kita bersentuhan tidak lagi sebagai bangsa dengan bangsa, tapi sebagai manusia dengan manusia yang punya hati nurani.
Huge congratulations for Fulbright being here 70 years and for AMINEF running the show for 30 years.
I hope that the relationship and the support will continue so that there are more and more Indonesians will become Fulbright scholars and can be the future leaders of Indonesia.
Teruslah menjadi rahmat kebaikan buat kedua belah pihak.
I wish them happy anniversary, as Indonesians would say, Dirgahayu AMINEF.
Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak.
Let's have another 100 years for you both.